In our headlines on this edition, stakes and challenges of sustainable development in Douala is a theme of this year's International Day of Sustainable Development, celebrated at the South Effect of Aqua. Open day activities of this event were launched Wednesday under the patronage of the Douala City Council bus with a general call sent out for the population of Douala to learn to preserve your environment. Meanwhile, in sports, after the 2010 edition, Farmer Regional Capital of Marmo takes a new challenge of hosting the 2011 FINASCO Games. The information was revealed Tuesday in a press briefing organized in Douala to create media awareness and some innovations and expectations for the 2011 FINASCO Games in Cameroon. These and more in this edition of the English Newscast on the LTM television. A very warm welcome on Wednesday's edition. We open up straight away with a story where two-day activities to commemorate the International Day of Sustainable Development has been organized in Douala, economic capital of Cameroon. Activities kicked off Wednesday at South Effect in Aqua under the theme, the stakes and challenges of sustainable development in Douala. Delphine Nagonifru has been following up that story for the LTM News Desk. She now completes that story for us.
The Faculty of Industrial Engineering, in collaboration with Enterprises for Unadapted Training, is a theme of this Industrial and Entrepreneurial Week, going on at the Campus 2 premises of the University of Douala. The event, that is the brainchild of the Association of Students in the Industrial Engineering Faculty of Douala's Lone State University, is made colorful by the existence of several stands wherein the young engineers showcase their professional know-how.
That objective is that you have to see what program we have, what government program to assure that development.
Grouped into various academic and cultural clubs, the students presented a series of projects such as the locally manufactured gas-consuming motor engine, an FM transmitter, the functioning of a ship at sea, and some computer softwares compiled by the Anglophone students of the faculty. It should be noted that this event is dubbed the Industrial and Entrepreneurial Week for the following reasons. Firstly, the students believe that some developed countries such as Japan, India and China have their economies backed by the industrial sector. So they want to show Cameroonians what they are capable of doing so that people can have confidence in our own local industrial sector, hence promoted by not just sending their children to technical schools, but also investing in industry. At the entrepreneurial level, the series of events that will run throughout this week is also intended to educate and sensitize Cameroonians, especially the youth, on entrepreneurship. Cameroonians must not wait on the government for everything but must learn to bring innovations into whatever domain they find themselves in. The program, which started on Monday, 24th January 2011, continues tomorrow with conferences, visits of personnel from various national as well as international enterprises, competitive exercises on the various projects displayed, and it will come to an end on Friday, 28th of January 2011 with a cultural evening.
An Industrial and Entrepreneurial Week has been launched in the Campus 2 of the University of Douala and by the students of the Industrial Engineering Faculty. Activities which began Tuesday will continue till the 20th of January 2011. Delphine Nagonifru still with the details.
The Faculty of Industrial Engineering, in collaboration with Enterprises for Unadapted Training, is a theme of this Industrial and Entrepreneurial Week, going on at the Campus 2 premises of the University of Douala. The event, that is the brainchild of the Association of Students in the Industrial Engineering Faculty of Douala's Lone State University, is made colorful by the existence of several stands wherein the young engineers showcase their professional know-how.
Welcome to the English Association stand of the Faculty of Industrial Engineering. Here we offer you CDs that permits to do interactive transition from English to French and French to English. Thus, we have also the 36. We have also the 36 DICO. It permits you to have English to French dictionaries, French to English dictionaries, in order to make your English language grow or your French language grow.
Grouped into various academic and cultural clubs, the students presented a series of projects such as the locally manufactured gas-consuming motor engine, an FM transmitter, the functioning of a ship at sea, and some computer softwares compiled by the Anglophone students of the faculty. It should be noted that this event is dubbed the Industrial and Entrepreneurial Week for the following reasons. Firstly, the students believe that some developed countries such as Japan, India and China have their economies backed by the industrial sector. So they want to show Cameroonians what they are capable of doing so that people can have confidence in our own local industrial sector, hence promoted by not just sending their children to technical schools, but also investing in industry. At the entrepreneurial level, the series of events that will run throughout this week is also intended to educate and sensitize Cameroonians, especially the youth, on entrepreneurship. Cameroonians must not wait on the government for everything but must learn to bring innovations into whatever domain they find themselves in. The program, which started on Monday, 24th January 2011, continues tomorrow with conferences, visits of personnel from various national as well as international enterprises, competitive exercises on the various projects displayed, and it will come to an end on Friday, 28th of January 2011 with a cultural evening.
Still talking education, the foundation stone of the reference faculties of Industrial Engineering, Medicine and Pharmaceutical Sciences has been laid. This was during an official inaugural ceremony presided Tuesday over by Professor Jacques Famendongo, Cameroon's Minister of Higher Education. We have more in the following report with one of our senior reporters. This is the new structure in picture that will accommodate educational activities for the University of Douala in the faculties of Industrial Engineering, Medicine and Pharmaceutical Sciences. The budget for the architecture that will contain well-designed amphitheaters, laboratories, workshops, library, multimedia centers, just to name a few, in the respect of modern technological norms to facilitate learning for science and engineering students at the University of Douala stands at over 20 billion CFA francs. This site at Lokbesu will prevent science and engineering students from traveling long distances and abroad to acquire appropriate medical and engineering training courses that will enable them exercise their functions in the future.
I'm very delighted by these two schools, the Faculty of Medicine, the Faculty for Engineering, Industrial Engineering. I have noted that the works are very well done. There are some problems in few, maybe here we have some problem, but globally work is well done, and I am very happy to congratulate the rector of the University of Douala for the good job he is doing here in this big, great and wonderful university.
The minister in action laid the first block of the foundation stone, significant of his total support to have this ingenious project executed before the speculated deadline. Speaking to the administrative, local, religious and government officials present at the inaugural ceremony, Minister Jacques Famendongo assured the public that construction works on the Lokbesu site will be completely executed before next school reopening. Talking to some medical students to know how they feel about this progression in the academic milieu, they are very happy with the acceleration of the development project for the school milieu. The minister proceeded with the signing of the Golden Book, popping of the champagne, and lauded the efforts of Bruno Bukolo, rector of the University of Douala, in having this project concretized and finalized. One initiative that deserves a round of applause, worthy of support and encouragement. We close up this information on education with these, where the Minister of Higher Education, Professor Jacques Famendongo, has awarded certificates to the 31st batch of graduating students from the Higher Teachers Training College of NSET. This was during the school's graduation ceremony that took place Tuesday at Campus 2 of the University of Douala. Bemo Basame paints a picture of this graduation ceremony in the following report.
After a long struggle through the sun and the rain, the 31st graduating batch of the Higher Teachers Technical Training College, NSET for 2010-2011, assembled yesterday, 25th of January 2011, at the Campus 2 premises of the University of Douala for the solemn convocation and handing of diplomas to successful graduating students, presided over by Jacques Famendongo, Minister of Higher Education. The ceremony started with the arrival of guests like the Minister of Higher Education, some other government authorities for the littoral region, top staffs of the school, invitees and students. Then tribute was paid to the country by singing the national anthem, which was done by the students and some other people. Followed immediately was a speech from one of the students, then other speeches of encouragement and appreciation, then that of the Professor Jacques Famendongo, Minister of Higher Education. who in his speech welcomed everyone present at the ceremony, congratulated the graduating students and told them to be good examples to those they've left behind and those they will be teaching in the future. He said they have to have at the back of their minds that the job hunting profession is the most difficult task to carry out after graduation, and it is the beginning of learning, as some people call it, but they have to stay focused and patient and always remain the good examples that they are. He then praised the students' success and blessed them with words of encouragement and more success like a father will do. After the speech, the minister handed certificates of excellence to some members of staff and shook hands with the happy ones in robes, handing them their attestations wrapped in ribbons. The students were elated and overwhelmed.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. In fact, the sentiment that I feel presently is that of relief. I'm so overwhelmed. After a year of full struggle and effort, we finally come to the graduation and the end of ceremony, meaning for the moment we will soon be entering into the public service, and it's just that of joy, and we are happy God made us to go through this, and we thank you for the teachers and the government who have been able to take us through. So we are so happy, and we hope we'll be able to meet up with what they expect from us in the field.
The staff and the school authority hope to see same success in their different places of work and efforts to boost the educational system of our country.
We now talk economy, where a two-day trade seminar has been organized in Douala to reinforce economic and bilateral relations between Cameroon and the Republic of South Africa. The economic mission, which kicked off Monday in Cameroon's economic capital, aims to launch initiatives and ingenious ideas that will boost the economic sector of Cameroon. We have more in the following paper. Such economic exchange visits have for the past years brought remarkable improvements in both diplomatic and business relations between Cameroon and the Republic of South Africa. Coming as follow-up to the Italy-Africa Economic Forum, German-Cameroon Days and others in 2010, the Economic Prospecting Mission will not only reinforce trade ties between both countries, since it stands at its crossroads, but will also assess the country's economic program for 2011, while yet seek ways to ameliorate transactions to optimize expected results.
So we believe the question of energy supply and also making sure that we can assist each other within the continent is one of the key issues, not only for us as a developing country, but for the whole continent and for the world. But we believe with the two countries working together, we'll be able then to deal with our energy challenges, etc., and the infrastructure.
The delegation of over 40 businessmen taking part in the two-day working and information sharing visit chose Cameroon for strategic reasons, given that Cameroon's trade balance with South Africa has been on a steady decline, amounting to a deficit of 58 billion CFA francs, representing the volume of Cameroon's imports from South Africa. A drop in the export of crude oil, which over the years remains Cameroon's main product in the South African market, stood at close to a meager 1 billion, greatly tightening the trade balance in favor of South Africa.
Here in Douala and also in Yaoundé, and really the proof is in eating the pudding. So really I hope more Cameroonian businesses would come and talk. And
the representative of the Minister of Economy, Planning and Regional Development present during the exchange visit expressed optimism with Cameroon and South African partnership, given that the country stands to gain from the transfer of technology, infrastructure, agro-industry and economics. The representative described the trade mission as timely, saying 75% of President Biya's end-of-year speech addressed economic perspectives to be executed before 2011's ending, thus uplifting and ameliorating activities of trade in Cameroon. This high-level trade mission from South Africa will be in Cameroon for 2 weeks, sealing ties with government officials and economic operators with aim to give an economic phase uplift to the nation Cameroon. And now the loan report in our special page with focus laid on the industry of that tells us that the funeral home business in Cameroon is increasingly becoming very competitive, especially in the city of Douala, where major streets are flooded with these homes. Claudine Gangmi takes a look at this activity and how lucrative it has become in the metropolitan city of Douala.
As the problem of unemployment continues to ravage the minds of Cameroonians, people adopt initiatives and other means of making money. One of such means is the establishment of funeral home business, which is sprouting almost on a daily basis in our society. The rise and deadly nature of some diseases common in our society today have brought about increased number of deaths. This has gone a long way to boost the business of funeral homes, as these industries will always need to provide their services to families who need to transport their corpses from one place to another. These funeral homes, bearing several names like Raison, Dernier Jour, Assomption, Bazor, Dernier Sommeil, The Last Journey, Dernier Voyage Éternel, differ in the prices of their services. Some of them can be hired only by the wealthy class. Some of these funeral homes are situated in strategic places within the city or by major hospitals, often with names written on them for specificity and contact numbers for reservation. At the Lakantini Hospital, for example, a good number of these funeral homes can be found around the mortuary area where their immediate clients reside. However, funeral homes have come to help those families, especially the underprivileged families, to transport their corpses to their respective burial grounds.
We round up national news and move out of Cameroon to know what's making news on the international scene, where 4 people have been killed so far in the civil uprising that broke out in Egypt after Tunisia. 3 of those people are civilians and the other is a policeman. Recent developments on this with our foreign partners and correspondents, the Cable News Network.
Well, actually, it's 4 people were killed. There was 3 youth killed in the city of Suez, which is east of Cairo, at least one of them seems to have been killed by either a rubber bullet and another by inhalation of tear gas. Now, in Cairo yesterday, 1 policeman was killed when he was hit by a very large rock. So we don't know the cause of death for the 3rd protester, but what's interesting is that the day started out yesterday, the police were relatively restrained. They didn't use much tear gas. They weren't using their usual billy club on demonstrators, but by the afternoon, when the numbers of protesters started to exceed 10,000 in the main square of Cairo, the police changed their tactics and went at the protesters with clubs, with tear gas, with rocks, and they finally cleared the main square of Cairo at about 2:30 in the morning, where until that point, the protesters had essentially occupied that critical part of the city.
Still without Cameroon, the Tunisian government has issued an international arrest warrant to its just resigned President Ben Ali. Meanwhile, in Lebanon, protesters have resorted to a peaceful demonstration while waiting for the nomination of a new prime minister. Courtesy of this report with our foreign partner, still the CNN.
After days of relative calm in the country, demonstrators have once again clashed with police on Wednesday. Now, these were the scenes in Tunis earlier, as tear gas was used to disperse the crowds. After ousting Ben Ali, protesters now want all his allies removed from the country's interim government.
There have been calls from Saad Hariri's political bloc, the March the 14th bloc, for more protests, but this time peaceful protests. We've seen them in the evening here in Beirut, gathered around Martyrs Square, where Rafiq Hariri's shrine is, if you will. So they're calling again for more of those peaceful type of demonstrations, but nothing that we've seen on the scale. The Saudi Foreign Ministry, however, is still so concerned about the situation in Lebanon. It's advised its citizens not to travel to Lebanon at this time. But yesterday, when Mr. Makati was nominated to be Prime Minister, it was a much different situation here on the streets.
The day ended as it began. Rock and grenade throwing supporters of ousted Prime Minister Saad Hariri facing off with Lebanon's security forces. But in the hours between, a new Prime Minister was chosen. Najib Mikati, a self-made multi-billionaire.
Back to Cameroon, we talk sport, where the Fovo Football Club of Baham has organized an extraordinary conference at the Paramount Chief's residence to discuss measures on how the team will operate and during the current national football season. Bemo Basame completes that story for the LTM News Desk West Region of Cameroon.
The premises of the Paramount Chief of Baham served as venue on Saturday, the 22nd of January 2011, for the extraordinary conference of the Fovo Football Club of Baham, and presided over by the divisional officer of the High Plateau Division, Mr. Joseph Tangwa. This conference was held to recount all what happened in the past year and take resolutions for the following year, what to ameliorate and what to be modified or maintained. after assessing and discussing what happened during the sports season of 2009-2010 and the perspectives and decisions taken for the 2010-2011 season, the trophy of the 50th anniversary was handed to the Paramount Chief of Baham, His Majesty Pokam Max II, which he received with so much appreciation and gladness, with good musical presentations by local invited artists to crown the joy. We thought we were going to bring home the victory during the first match, but it wasn't bad. It was the first time, and that's why we are jubilating here today, in order to encourage our team. We are doing our best to work hand in hand in supporting the Fuvu Football Club so that they can make us proud and even climb up. And why not take us to the first division stage of football? It will be our joy, and that's why we joined them today in celebration as supporters. Elections were done to replace some members of cabinet of the Fuvu Football Club, while the General President, Kamdem Diodene, and the Administrative Director, Onao Tama, maintained their post of duty, who also had many things to say to contribute to the growth of the club, encouragements for their next march, and told them it was just the beginning. At the level of the administration, all is almost ready. We are just waiting to go and bring the victory back home next weekend. The budget decided on during this conference to run and actualize affairs in the 2010-2011 season was estimated at 175 million francs CFA. 6,777,950 francs CFA was contributed during the conference by different donors and supporters, out of which 3,777,950 francs was in cash and the rest of it in check. 6 footballs were offered as gift to the Fuvu Football Club by the Association of Clubs for the First Division.
Bemo Basame reporting for the LTM News Desk, LtmTV, West Region, Cameroon. Still in sports, female national football team coach Eno Gachu has called on the Lionesses to sharpen technical skills in order to maintain the win lead on the Eagles of Mali. This was during a technical training session at the Douala Reunification Stadium ahead of the return leg match to be played in Bamako on Saturday, January 29, 2011. We have details in the following paper. All dressed in green, the Lionesses are bent on maintaining the lead position after mercilessly slamming a 5-0 win on the Eagles last January 15, 2011 at the Yaoundé Amadou Ahidjo Stadium. Alert of the will, zeal and need to crack down assurance and determination in the Eagles, the Lionesses are actively taking part in last-minute training sessions at the Douala Reunification Stadium to sharpen football skills, potentials and exploit. This upgraded level of preparedness assures the Cameroonian lovers and fans of football that the Lionesses will produce excellent performances during the return leg match counting for the eliminatories of the 2012 Olympic Games built for London. National team coach Eno Gachu was speaking during one of the training sessions, reminding the Lionesses of the essence to grab the title and make use of their dynamic skills and techniques to maintain the lead on the classification table because it's optimal to qualify the Lionesses for the 2012 London Olympic Games. These has motivated the girls to strengthen their muscles, solidify techniques, and upgrade tactics to keep the win lead. These physical exercises, some sports officials say, will adequately and appropriately nurture the ladies' professionalism and cooking ability to season the beef for consumption on January 29th. The battle line has been drawn. Now time for the Lionesses to scare the Eagles out of their den. Wonderful images and editing by Titi Mbake and Innocent Abegar of LTM News Desk. Still in sports, the town of Marwa will play host to the 2011 FINASCO Games of Cameroon. The information was revealed Tuesday in a press briefing aimed to create awareness on the site, innovations and expectations of the 2011 FINASCO Games built to take place between the 27th of March and the 2nd of April 2011 in Marwa. 1,500 athletes from the 10 regions of Cameroon will showcase exploits in the disciplines of football, handball, basketball, volleyball, judo, table tennis and gymnastics during the 2011 edition of the Inter-School Sports Competition. During 7 days, the national finals of the FINASCO Games will bring hidden talents to the limelight, another challenge for sports officials to handle or lose out to foreign sports organizations. The 7 days of sharing and active participation of youth will be marked with feasting and other numerous colors, taking into consideration the outbreak of cholera in the north, still ravaging lives health organizations of the country have taken stringent measures to avoid further spread and contamination. We have a few innovations at the level of communication and techniques. Handicapped persons will compete in the table tennis discipline for the very first time, as well as ladies will participate in the fight. In all, these are the technical innovations. Talking to the organizing committee of the FENASCO Games, they hold that the prior aim to organize and develop physical and sporting activities as well as promote Olympic ideas within the educative milieu is to stir engagement possibilities and faculties in the youth, who are the greatest natural resources of the nation. Generally, we have a medical team that will accompany the athletes to the site of the 2011 FENASCO Games. But we have also organized this sensitization campaign to keep the athletes on the alert. We are lucky to have a very dynamic, special and competent organizing committee under the leadership of Mr. Governor, who has taken measures to ensure that the athletes will consume only mineral water, given that the moment will steam a lot of heat as the students will be actively competing against one another. After Bamenda in 2010, the town of Marwa, capital of the extreme north region, is making last-minute preparations to vibrate to the rhythm of the FENASCO 2011 Games that as usual will reunite over 30,000 spectators in this part of Cameroon. We round out this edition of the news in the Queen's language in brief, where 4 pair of team players are contesting the 2011 Sub-Regional African Beach Volley Cup of Nations at the Douala Parc des Princes Beach Volley Court in the economic capital of Cameroon. Activities which kicked off Wednesday, January 26, 2011, will draw to a close on the 30th of January 2011. We'll be giving you more on this and our subsequent newscasts. Before we go, a recap of the major stories. Stakes and challenges of sustainable development in Douala is a theme of this year's International Day of Sustainable Development, celebrated at the Southern Fed in Africa. Open day activities of this event were launched Wednesday under the patronage of the Douala City Council bus that completes in with a general call sent out for the population of Douala to learn to preserve their environment. Meanwhile, in sports, after the 2010 edition, Far North Regional Capital of Marwa takes the new challenge of hosting the 2011 FENASCO Games. The information was revealed Tuesday in a press briefing organized in Douala to create media awareness on the sound celebrations and expectations for the 2011 edition of the FENASCO Games. That was all we could put aside for this edition of the news in the Queen's language. We thank you for your kind attention. God willing, we'll be with you again same time Thursday. Until then, spend lovely moments in the company of programs on the LTM television. Thank you.